Hi, my name is Matthew Faulkner, and I'm here with Jeremy Swanson, a family law attorney here in Bakersfield, California, of Swanson O'Dell. I'm from Faulkner Law Offices, and we're here to discuss a family law issue involving how to share custody during the holidays after a separation. Now, the holidays is usually a time of joy and fun and being together, but sometimes there's a conflict because when people split custody and they have custody arrangements, there gets to be a conflict, and so we're here to discuss that topic today. And Jeremy, so can you just tell me a little bit about that?
When the holidays come around, everybody would like to spend as much time as possible with their children, but the problem is that can't happen when people are separated. You have to share the time, and that can be difficult, deciding what times the children will spend with each parent.
Is this because there's still an existing conflict after separation?
It's often difficult to discuss the holidays because each parent has an idea in their mind of how they would like the holidays to go. And there's often a conflict because those times are going to overlap pretty much inevitably.
Does it help to have a really well-defined schedule agreement between the parents?
It does, particularly if you've had a high conflict situation. It helps to know exactly when the exchanges are going to take place, where they're going to take place, and to make sure that that's ironed out in advance. You really don't want to have a visitation fight and a conflict right around the holidays.
That's because it makes everybody miserable, right?
Yes, and particularly the children. It can be very stressful for them not to know what the plan is for the holidays.
Is this something that the judge needs to implement, or can people work it out amongst themselves?
People can and should make their own agreements. If you can work it out, even if there's some tension, you're going to be much better off. Judges do make orders quite commonly regarding holiday visitation. There are some standard orders that they tend to do, splitting the days, but if you make the judge make the decision, the judge does not know your schedule, does not know your family traditions, does not know what times are really going to be best for the children. The judge is going to make a judgment call and do the best that he or she can, but you're going to have to live with a stranger making decisions on how you're going to spend your holidays.
Now, I understand that a judge needs to step in and arrange an order if there's a conflict or if one parent's not following the agreed order. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
A judge will generally step in first if there are ambiguities in the order, if there's a problem where the parents can't interpret the order together and agree on what it says. Those will be clarified by the judge if needed. If you don't have an order, if you have an order that says as mutually agreed for the holidays, which is fairly common, or you just simply don't have it in your order, then the judge will need to step in and set specific times and exchange points.
You know, sometimes it's good to be open to change and being able to adjust to circumstances. In the context of custody after separation like this, can you just tell me a little bit more about that?
There are going to be times when you may have to adjust the schedule based on activities. Things can come up, family can be in town, there can be school plays or events or parties, and inevitably it can be hard to stick to a really strict schedule. So to have an open mind about how to switch time around, how to work together can really make the holidays a lot less stressful.
So rather than one parent trying to make a point or push things a little too far, is it just better for them to work it out on their own?
Holidays are not a time to make a point about your feelings about the other parent's parenting style or visitation or as a get back, because inevitably next year will come and it might be you on the other end. It's much better to work together for the holidays and come up with a plan that actually works for you rather than using it as a get back time. Judges also don't have a lot of patience for that. I've had situations where a parent has refused to let the other parent have visitation over Christmas, and I can tell you that there's not a judge in Kern County who thinks that that's all right. So you really want to work with the other parent. You don't have to give in to unreasonable demands, but working with them over the holidays is very important long term.
So let's say if someone wants to change the existing order and because they want to have more custody and need to make different kinds of arrangements, how important is it for them to be clear about why they want those changes to be made?
It's actually very important because otherwise it can come across as a demand of what time you want. And the other parent may not understand why you're asking for it or why it's important to the children. So explaining things like what relatives are going to be there at events, what the time frame is, or other events can really smooth things out, and you can actually talk about the issues and the way that a schedule would work instead of dealing with each other at arm's length, essentially demanding a certain amount of time and the other party feeling that maybe that's too much. Specific explanations can help you creatively figure out a good way to split the time.
In terms of give and take, if you're taking someone's time, you need to be willing to give time. Can you just talk about that?
Correct. If you're going to ask for additional time, be prepared to give it back, either during the holiday period or the next holiday period or some other time. If you're trading time, it has to be a fair trade. So keep that in mind when you're making your proposal, that you have to make it fair for the other party too.
So something I understand, how important is it to keep the order or the agreement simple and clear?
An agreement that is altering time or setting specific times when there is no order should always be in writing. That doesn't mean a formal signed document that you both sit down and write out, but it does mean that you should have a text message or an email, or if you're using Our Family Wizard, you should have it in there what the schedule is and that both parties agree to it. And what that does is it both gives you something to refer back to what the agreement was, and if for some reason there's a problem and it goes to court, then you've got a copy of the actual agreement. There's nothing worse than trying to enforce a verbal agreement about holiday visitation when parties disagree on what that agreement was in the first place.
I want to talk about the kids for a second. How important is it that the kids understand what the agreement is so they have stability in their life?
Children look forward to the holidays. They think about it. They think about events. They think about who they're going to see. They think about presents. They think about parties and food. You need to have a schedule in advance where they know where they're going to be, who they're going to be with. It helps them through the difficult part of not being with both parents during all portions of the holidays. So setting it in advance so that they know where they're going to be when and what they're going to be doing is actually really helpful to get them through the holidays, because we often look at it as it's difficult for us to be without our children during the holidays, but it's also very stressful for the children as well, not being with both parents. And if they become a pawn and fought over in the middle, then that's even worse. So it's really important to lay it out in advance and then stick to that so that they know what's going to happen over the holidays.
Sometimes it's overlooked, the grandparents, the other parents, grandparents, sometimes it's overlooked about how they want to be involved with their grandkids. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
You want to keep in mind that this is family for them. As much as you may dislike your ex, those are still their grandparents. You're going to want to have the children see your parents as well and spend time with family over the holidays. So keeping in mind that it's more than just about you and your ex during the holidays will often lead you to include grandparents in plans. This happens a lot in cases where one parent is really uninvolved. Your ex may not want or ask for much time over the holidays, but the grandparents may really want to see the children, and that can be special for the children as well. You have to use your discretion based on the quality of the grandparent involved, but family is important over the holidays.
So in reality, it's hard for people to not be able to spend all their time in the holidays with their kids after separation. But what kind of perspective can you offer that those parents can have and better understand the situation?
Enjoy the time that you do have with your children. Don't spend your time worrying about the time that you don't have. Enjoy what you have, and then make a choice that you're going to enjoy the holidays regardless of the schedule. Self-pity is the one thing that can really kill you over the holidays, so don't let that happen. Get out, go see a movie. If you don't have Christmas Eve with your children, go see a movie with friends. Go be with relatives. Have events. Take a trip if it's not your year for Thanksgiving or something. Make sure that you choose how your life's going to be, and you need to choose to be happy over the holidays. And you'll find that you'll enjoy the time that you do with your kids a lot more if you have a healthy perspective on it.
Thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate your time. And so again, we were meeting today with Jeremy Swanson of Swanson O'Dell. I'm Matthew Faulkner of Faulkner Law Offices. Number is 327-0601. And have a good day.